Hey guys, welcome back. Today I'm doing something a little different. I'm paring down life and trying to get rid of different stuff that I don't really need anymore. But there's some stuff that really kind of has a soft spot in my heart. So I kind of want to video document them. So I still can look back and look at my collection of what I had. So today I'm going to go through my Marvel action figures that I had as a kid. I've recently found these over at my mom's house. Thought they're pretty cool. I really loved playing with these things. I'd probably get one. That's probably what I spent my allowance on almost every week. So I was going through them. I gave them a little once over to clean them up. And so these are all mid-90s Marvel Toybiz action figures. And I'm going to start with the ones that I really don't have any memories with. Some of these, it was like seeing them for the first time. I don't remember buying them. I had to look up a lot of their names. But we'll start with this guy. This is Tusk. I guess he's part of like the X-Force line. I don't know if he's like hero, villain, or what. He's pretty cool looking though. That's probably why I bought him. I didn't read comics or anything, but I did. I loved action figures and toys. He had a little Tusk guy that went in there, and you would pop this lever on the back. It's kind of sticky now, and the guy would pop out. So this was Tusk. Another X Factor figure, GW Bridge, generic black guy with flat top. I have no idea anything about this character. He didn't have any built-in actions or anything, but I guess he's kind of cool little character. I must have thought he was cool enough to buy. So, GW Bridge. I think this guy's name was Strike. I think that's what I looked up, but I didn't know anything about him, but has the same face as Cable. Maybe he's his brother, maybe he's Cable himself. He had a cape and a Thor hammer, and of course with action figures, when the cape is made out of anything other than hard plastic and is not attached, they get lost. But yeah, there's where the cape would attach. So like I said, I don't know anything about this character. I vaguely have memories of playing with this guy, but this was Strike. Okay, this is Annihilus? Annihilus? I'll put the name of him on the screen right now. He had some wings that went through right here. I don't know what this... Oh, I guess that may have made... Yep, that made the wings flap. I think. I have no memory of this guy. He looks kind of cool, but I think he's another X Factor figure. I don't know. I'm not a collector or anything. This is seriously from when I was in my single digits. Another character that I have no idea anything about him. I had to look up his name. I think it was Cannonball. I think he has some cool goggles up here. I think that's pretty neat. He's kind of getting washed out in the shadows, but he's cool looking figure, cool looking pilot type guy. He's got some cool colors. He had a repaint, I know. Don't have that, but this is Cannonball. Okay, this guy was much cooler when I first had him. He had a bunch of cool accessories. He had a little like hair that went on that little knot up there. His name is Cruel. Once again, I have no idea anything about this character. But he is cool. The sculpt is pretty cool. He's got skulls on his belt. He's pretty a badass. But once again, I have no memory of him, really, except the hair thing that was lost almost immediately. But Cruel. Okay, once again, legit have no memories of this guy. This is Ahab. I think he was an X Factor guy. All these are like came out in '92, I think. Pretty sure that's what it says on their legs. So they're all from like the same series. Like with a lot of these, I probably just bought them because they look cool. He had like a harpoon gun. I don't have any of the harpoons. I still have the gun somewhere. I saw it when I had the case out that these guys came in. But this is Ahab, and honestly, I have zero recollection of this guy. And just like with most of these other figures, I had to look up this guy's name. He's cleverly named Forearm. So funny. But I do remember playing with him. He does this cool little number. That's pretty cool. There's a little lever on the back. I mean, he was fun to play with. I had no idea who he was or anything he did, but I remember playing with him. So, Forearm. Okay, now we'll get into some of the ones that I remember. Maybe they weren't my favorites, but I do remember them. So the Silver Samurai, he used to have a helmet. Of course, I lost that. And I don't even know what Silver Samurai is. I think he's a Wolverine villain. I think. The thing that kind of sucks about this guy is his skirt is hard, and so there's only one point of articulation on his legs. It's the knees. So he looks cool, but kind of sucked to play with. Here is one of several Cable figures I had. I have another one, but I gave him to my nephew, so he's not here today since he's not going anywhere. But you can see he has the same kind of face that Strike did. He has a lever on the back. I honestly don't remember what that does. With the shape of his hand, I would assume that he karate chopped. I can kind of feel and see the hand moving when I'm pushing on the lever. But like I said, I don't know. I don't know. This is another X Factor guy. And I guess he's kind of a popular character. I knew who Cable was when I was a kid. And I had several Cables. They put a bunch of Cable figures out. When I was looking these up to find the names of some of these guys, there was so many Cables that were put out. So, I don't know. I know he was in a movie recently, but it seemed like a character that had a lot more love in the 90s than he does now. Here is my Daredevil. Pretty cool. It's pretty compact. Just a normal figure. No articulation other than in the arms, other than the shoulders, legs, knees. But I really like this guy. I think that he looks older than he actually is. He looks like an older line. Maybe this is an early Toybiz, because it seemed like Toybiz had a lot of gimmicks where maybe they have a karate chop or they launch something. This is just a plain Jane guy, but he was pretty fun to play with. So that's Daredevil. Okay, when you're talking about Toybiz gimmicks, this toy, without a doubt, is one of the most gimmicky. This was Punisher. Look at this guy's face. I mean, for real. This is the dopiest and happiest Punisher I've ever seen. But what made him cool, he's kind of balding right there with the paint's chipping off. What made him cool when you're a kid is you could put caps back there and pop the caps with him. So he could literally pop a cap. But, I mean, that's gimmicky, and when you're just playing with him regularly, playing with your other action figures, he just looks stupid with this thing on his back. I know Frank Castle got it a little bit better action figures, but this is the one I had with this stupid face. So there's my cap popping Punisher. Here is my Gambit. As you see, his legs are a little funny because his Toybiz gimmick was to kick, and the lever doesn't work anymore for the button. So it's just, unless you put his legs super far back, he's just constantly kicking. This is Gambit was another character that came with. Here, you can just sit down, bud. Gambit was another character that came with vinyl cape. You can see the brim of it was built onto him, but the actual cape itself wasn't. And just with those things, kids lose them. I mean, let's see if we can get his face in there. There we go. But he's pretty fun. I really like playing with Gambit. He was one of my favorite characters. Bam, Silver Surfer. Look at him roll. He had these wheels on the bottom of his board. They used to, when you pulled it back, they'd wind up and you could let him go and he'd go forward. But the cool thing about this board is it was really well built. It was easy to keep up with too. His feet would slot in right there. Silver Surfer, I mean, he's pretty generic looking, but this board is so rare that when you're a kid, to keep up with the accessories on stuff, especially for me. But this was the easiest accessory to keep up with because this guy is so lame without it. And it just fits right in. Whenever you're storing him, bam, it's right there. It stays on, doesn't come off. He can surf till his heart's content. He was a pretty cool character. Here's a green goblin for you. He had pumpkins, he had a board. That face though, you put the pumpkins here and he'd launch them. Bam, bam, bam. I loved this guy. I had some Spider-Man figures, but I don't know where they are. This is one of a couple that survived. I only have the villains. But there's my green goblin. And how could you have Spider-Man figures without having Dr. Octopus? His suction cups are super corroded now. These you could hold characters in. Here, let's grab one. Bam. Dopey Face Punisher is now in his claws. I'm gonna get you, man. And this face is the best. Focus, come on. There we go. I loved playing this guy. He'd stick him everywhere. And the fact that he could claw people and hold their necks, it was great. And surprisingly, his tentacles held up pretty well. I wasn't huge into Fantastic Four, but I do have a few Fantastic Four figures. There's Human Torch, Johnny Blaze, whatever you want to call him. And like with a lot of Toybiz, he had a gimmick. He had fireballs. You'd stick them there in the little hole in his hand and bam. It's like a quarterback. Here's the thing. He's another dopey face guy. And he's got his gimmick. Smash his stuff. He got his little Fantastic Four panties on. I liked him. He always fought the Hulk. I remember a comic shop had a bookends that were the Hulk and the Thing pushing against, and after seeing that, I was always about the Hulk and the Thing fighting each other. Here's my Doctor Doom. Pretty cool. I think his gimmick was his fist would spin or something, but his gimmick's not working anymore. His face is pretty terrifying. Looking back at it, that's a pretty cool figure. I probably didn't give him a lot of credit. I don't know if he came with a cape or not, but I think he's still pretty cool looking today. Here's a Deadpool figure. Of course, I don't have any of his accessories. This is not an accessory in his hand. Cool. Yeah, this dagger is built in, but it was cool because you could stab people, stab other figures with it. Crack, 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 crack. Just so I like Deadpool. This is before he was wisecracking. I think they tried to take him more seriously back then. But yeah, this is definitely before his chimichanga days. Here's my Captain America. You can tell he got played with a lot because his paint is really bad. And I don't have his shield. I have a U.S. agent shield. I don't know where my U.S. agent is, but I just have the Captain America and a U.S. agent shield. Here is Magneto, helmetless and capeless. That's all I got to say about him. And the reason I didn't have a lot to say about the little Magneto is because I have this Magneto. This is much larger. They made a few of these figures where they have these projectors in their chest. The cape is hard plastic, hides all this stuff. What you would do is you'd open this up and you'd have like a little disc that you'd stick in there and put it back in, turn the lights off in your room, and you would light them up, and he would project pictures from the show on the wall. I mean, like I said, they were all about the gimmicks. That was his on switch, and then you would move the disc with that. But he's still kind of badass. He's bigger than the rest. He was kind of a pipsqueak compared to like the 12-inch figures. I think he's maybe a 10-inch, but he still looks cool. He's got his helmet. He's got his cape. He actually looks like Magneto instead of this thing. Okay, these last 5 or so are some of my favorites. Let's start off with the villains, and here is Apocalypse, or as we always called him, Apocalypse, because of these weirdo lips that he has. Come on, man, focus. There we go. And he's kind of wall-eyed looking, so kind of a weird looking guy. I don't know why his knees grow like that, but that was Apocalypse. And another villain from the X-Men TV show that was pretty awesome. I actually think the sculpt on him is pretty awesome. Mr. Sinister. I think his cape was, I think it may have been hard plastic, but of course I lost it. The cool thing about him is you had the switch on the back, and that would glow. Of course, it doesn't glow anymore. I bet it would be because the button cell or whatever was in there is gone. But I always thought he's kind of badass. Didn't he kill Morph in the first episode? And then Morph came back? He taught me about death. Okay, and I mentioned earlier about my Thing fighting my Hulk. Here is my Hulk. I know he's kind of articulated weird, but it's actually pretty awesome the way he works. So his gimmick was he came with a boulder and he could pick it up. So that lifts the arms up and down, and then pulling it out, brings him in so he could lift and throw. Bam! I know it's kind of stupid, but he'd be lifting other guys. He kind of resembles the Hulk from the TV show. He's kind of neon. He's really neon green. And he's more dull these days. But there's my Hulk. Okay, one of my favorite characters was Wolverine. So I had to have every Wolverine. I don't know where they all are. Only a couple of them made it out. But this is Weapon X. He still has his little belt. No claws. But look, this face is so much better than the face of the Wolverine I'm going to show you here in a minute. But he is just awesome. He came with a mask, a different mask that he'd run around in. Of course that's gone, but I really like playing with this guy. And when you're a Wolverine fan, you gotta have Sabretooth. The Sabretooth's pretty awesome. His gimmick was battle damage. Bam! 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 I loved doing that. Especially when I had my original Wolverine. Now look at this, look at the face on this compared to the other one. Toybiz was really bad about these dopey faces. But the cool thing about this Wolverine that you don't get a lot in, you didn't get in some of the other figures back then, as other Wolverine figures back then, is that his claws do, come on, come out. Bam. And you can see where I chewed on it when I was a dope. But the best thing about this Wolverine and this Sabretooth is this. Crack. Oh. Crack. And you'll see on this Weapon X, his claws were just stuck in there. They come out. They come out. That is the best. So, I hope you guys enjoyed checking out my figures with me. Like I said, I'm getting rid of stuff, and so we're gonna go through these with my niece and nephew, see if there's any that they think are just too cool to get rid of. I know these two will be staying with me, but thanks for watching this. If you have any other questions, let me know, and See you next time.